All right, let's get into graphing. So when we have to graph a function, let's say y equals a x squared plus 3x plus 2 divided by a x squared minus 1. The biggest mistake that I see students make is not wanting to simplify, right? Typically, we learn kind of simplifying first with rational functions, and students just hate it because it just requires so much factoring. And then we get into graphing and we learn things like asymptotes and x and y intercepts, and it's like, all right, there's a nice little break. But ladies and gentlemen, we cannot forget to simplify. Always look to simplify. The reason being is if we have a hole that occurs at an x or a y intercept, there is no x and y intercept that is a part of the problem. It is a hole. It is an undefined value. So what we always want to do is always make sure we simplify first. And students make this mistake all the time. And I'll show you what they do, okay? So first, let's go ahead and simplify it because we're going to do this correctly. So I can factor this. What two numbers multiply 2, add to give me 3. I can rewrite that as an x plus 2 times an x plus 1. And then here in my denominator, I have a x squared minus 1. Again, that's a difference of 2 squares. So x minus 1. That looks written bad. So that's an x minus 1 times an x plus 1. Aha! Again, my terms are separated by multiplication. So now I can go ahead and divide those out, right? Don't divide out the x squareds over here. You got to write it in factored form. So really what I'm looking for the x and the y intercepts is going to be for the function x plus 2 divided by a x minus 1. That's critically important, right? Because here, even though this got divided out, we know our still restrictions, x cannot equal a negative 1 as well as a positive 1, right? Because from our original function, those are the two values that make our function equal to 0, which is not good. Now, what would be the mistake the students will make? They remember to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. These are good little tips that, students kind of remember rather easily. If I want to find the x-intercept, yeah, you put y equals 0, but really the easiest thing to do is just set your numerator equal to 0. So they would just go and say x squared plus a 3x plus 2, and then set that equal to 0. And then we know that factored form is that x plus 2 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then you can apply the zero product property, set x plus 2 equal to 0, x plus 1 equals 0, and you get two x-intercepts, x equals negative 1 and x equals negative 2. But again, ladies and gentlemen, remember our restrictions over here. X cannot equal a negative 1. So a lot of students will write x equals negative 1 as an x-intercept. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it is incorrect, okay? So don't do that. It's very important that you always look to simplify things first. Now, the y-intercept, in case you were just wondering, that is when x is equal to 0, or it's your constant over your constant, which in this case is y equals a negative 2, right? Because those go to 0, so 2 over negative 1 is a negative 2. So this one is our extraneous value. It's not, well, no, it's not extraneous. It's just undefined. So we're going to put a x through that. Okay, so don't make that mistake. Make sure you always simplify first.